Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Elaine Hall-Corbin, your host. Welcome to Artists of Color. We're going to have a nice afternoon today. There are a couple of people I've been trying to get here for a minute. And so today I have two amazing, spectacular people. Artists, I should say, because you know that's what we do. We do art. So I'm going to introduce my first artist, Naheem Garcia, filmmaker, producer, teacher, and a load of other things.
Just keep it coming.
He just keeps doing stuff. I've watched him for years, and his work is phenomenal.
Thank you.
And I do mean phenomenal.
Thank you.
And I want to also introduce my other guest, Bithyah Israel. She is, I want to say she's almost a new filmmaker, but I could be wrong, because she did a film called A Great Day in Harlem. Yeah, right. A Great Day in Highland Park.
Highland Park.
Roxbury.
That's right.
Well, we could be Harlem, you know, but we're not.
No, we Roxbury.
We're Highland Park, Roxbury. And it was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful film.
Thank you.
You'll get to see a little bit of that. I also have a piece. I wanted to have a piece of yours. So we found a little piece.
You found some of mine?
I found something of yours. So you're going to have to see what I found.
Oh, God.
So I want you all to just sit back and have a conversation. We're going to have a conversation. And if you like our conversation, maybe you can call in and ask questions. Maybe. We might let you. So I want to begin with Bithyah. I know we've met before.
Yes.
But I hadn't seen you in a while. But when I saw you at the Roxbury Film Festival, I said, oh, wait a minute, I know her. And I said, that's your film? And I was very, very much excited. It was the history.
Yes.
And the reason for that is I spent a little bit of my childhood in Highland Park, too. Yeah, but I used to live on Highland Street.
The special area.
Yes. And the gentleman that you know how they talk about all the elders. So one of the elders was Mr. Lloyd King.
Yeah.
Rap.
Rap. The rap
I
program.
worked with Rap, and because their coordinator for all the events that they did was a dear friend of mine, Marjorie Hicks. So I started working with Marjorie, and I started that by we did the very first Roxbury Harlem Book Fair in 2005.
Okay.
We did that from 2005 to 2013. But I'm saying that all to say is because Mr. King was family. Uncle Lloyd was my uncle. His wife was my aunt by marriage. So it was family, but the community was still connected. I got to learn more about the community, working with them, and walking around and seeing people and meeting people. And it was an interesting, thing to see happen, because I learned that history. But then for you to come and do that film on Highland Park, I thought it was like seeing elders that I knew as a child. And that was beautiful to see happen. My first question to you is, what made you want to do that film?
That's a good question. So I am community engagement for the arts and tours at the Urban Ministry in John Elliott Square.
Right.
So I started working there right before the pandemic. And I was brought on for events, but as we know, across the globe there wasn't an event to be had.
No, there was not.
So I thought, well, how about video events? I mean, So I started going around town, and we started highlighting Black-owned businesses in Nubian Square. And after all that experimentation and learning, because we kind of had time to learn new skills,
yes. Didn't we?
And to contemplate life for about a few months. The Urban Ministry was amongst a group of community organizers who wanted to highlight and honor elders who really were pivotal in the survival and the building back up of
the Highland
Park
area.
and
Yes.
Roxbury at large, I would say.
Yes.
And so they said, okay, we're going to have the elders come and do a photo shoot. That's what the day was for. It's called.
Yes, Hakeem did. Yes.
Yes, a great day in Roxbury's Highland Park. And so they said, hey, Bithyah, can you come, and I literally was using an iPhone. They said, can you come?
Hey.
Don't.
Hey.
Oh.
It's supposed to be. Yeah.
It does well. So they say, hey, can you come and document it? Because I'd been going around town doing this stuff. And yeah, so, the elders came and, coffee and donuts. And I took a lot of footage. And it was about 2.5 hours. Also, younger people who had grown up under the elders' leadership, they had some comments that they shared with the crowd.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
And then after that, the organizers started introducing me to some of the individual people who were highlighted that day on the film, and I got to interview them, and then their stories just kind of led to the next thing. So what we thought was probably going to be like a 5-minute or 10-minute thing turned out to be a more in-depth
Yes,
look.
it did. Yes, it did. It was great. I love listening to the history.
Absolutely, and I feel like we're at a loss the way our westernized society doesn't feature stories of what has happened before. So it kind of behooves us to learn and to hear what's happened, because that powers you up. I mean, sitting in homes and hearing these stories, I felt so powered up doing this project.
I understand.
And that's what we need. So, yeah, I mean, there's stopping a highway. I mean, I hadn't heard about that.
Oh, yes, that highway.
I mean,
that highway.
That's a story.
Yeah,
And
all by
we all
itself.
should know that. When you say Roxbury, I mean, it wasn't just Roxbury. There was an alliance with
South End.
Right,
Yep.
Cambridge.
So they went around.
They went, yes.
Yeah.
We had a lot of people that came. I was around then. We had a lot of people that came, like you said, Cambridge, the South End. People came and magnet. They came like a magnet to come and help the community to not have that highway
going to
go
cut
through.
right through.
And
They
at
were
the
going
same
straight
time,
through Roxbury.
you had the busing. Then you had Roxbury Community College. That was a long time coming.
Yes, it was. Because you remember where it used to be?
Oh, yes.
I was about to point like right down the street over here.
Yeah, right.
Well, in the area, but down
Dudley Street,
Dudley Street.
right across from the Catholic Church. And now it's just an open piece of land. There's nothing there. Even the building is gone.
And what I've been told is that the placement of RCC actually was almost like a community activist approach to ensuring that the highway would not come back.
I love that part.
Yeah,
That would've
placement
been
of
ugly.
it. So.
Yes.
That would put a lot of people out of homes and business. That would have changed
Yes.
the whole structure of Roxbury.
Roxbury,
Absolutely.
totally.
So a lot of cities across the country, were not successful in trying to push back, but Roxbury did it.
The Rock.
Yep.
The pudding
That's why
stone.
it's called Roxbury.
It's after the family of Roxbury, Mr. Roxbury and his family.
And yes, but hey,
There's that. Then there's that.
that's
right?
a whole nother history.
That's
This
another
This is
show.
us.
Yep,
And we're the Roxbury that's still standing.
That's right.
I like to, where I live is on Seaver Street.
Okay, I lived on Seaver
Now, I don't know if many people know this. Y'all might know. But Roxbury, how it's cut up and how it goes, where I live on Seaver Street, they say it's Dorchester. And the only reason they say it's Dorchester because in 1975, when the U.S. Post Office put a post office in Grove Hall, they added a zip code, which is
that made it-
02121.
and they made it
And they
Dorchester.
changed it to Dorchester. Actually, where I live, that's Roxbury.
I used to live in 162 Seaver Street, so I know.
Wait a minute, you what?
I used to live in 162 Seaver Street.
Well, guess what? That is where I live.
Wow.
Okay?
It's a small world.
No, man.
That is where I
The
live.
first job I had at 13 was right there at the Marcus Garvey Center that Rap ran.
Oh.
Hashima and Charlene Sealy, the Sealy
Yes.
fans, they all ran it. So I grew up with Roxbury, what I consider Roxbury family.
Absolutely.
go.
And I'm told
Roxbury
that
royalty.
where the MFA was also Roxbury.
Yes, it
That's all
was.
they call it now Lower Roxbury, but that's all Roxbury.
Yeah.
Roxbury, what, Mass Ave?
Mass Ave.
After Mass Ave, you got something up, Back
Back
Bay,
Bay.
or South End. is where we-
And Northeastern University.
Roxbury.
Roxbury.
MIT. Roxbury.
Roxbury. Mass College of Art,
Roxbury. Welcome to the Rocks.
There you go. I mean, it's the history that our young people don't know.
No.
And we need to
And
know. We need to pass it around.
Well,
Yes,
it's
we
not.
do.
It's not because we're not giving the information out there. Because if you go to several bus stops, you will see information about. You would know who.
Yes.
You would know who the Roxburys are, who the Dudleys are. You would know where they're buried. You would know that John Eliot was an apostle to the Native Americans.
That's
you would know
right.
what Native Americans would live here. It's right there at the corner of Humboldt and Warren. You can see the big old
Yes,
plaque.
it is.
There's a couple of plaques all over the place. You get on the red line, you can see the whole history about Dorchester. People don't even know Dorchester was the farming land. That's where all the vegetation and fruits came from here to New Jersey. Okay, right here, the peach. The peach grew right here. The pear. The pear grew right there.
Right? He's right.
Yep, the Bartlett Street.
If you're gonna live, you better know that this is my town.
You better live it. You better know it.
This is my town.
It's very
You better know
strengthening instead of getting third-hand information from the mainstream media. That's why we're on this show. Is to
Right. And it's like when I was I'm here in the studio, but I also grew up on 171 School Street. I grew up in Eggleston Square in the early 70s. I'm originally from Cuba, so I lived in Jamaica Plain Center Street, and we kept moving it up. I'm Cuban, 100% Cuban, but I also learned a lot about race and color when I got out of Jamaica Plain, Roxbury, because I thought it was Jamaica Plain, but it's really Roxbury.
Roxbury.
And then I moved to Mattapan. But I lived all over. When we came from 1968 from Cuba, we landed up in Brunswick Street, Roxbury.
Brunswick Street.
Well, Brunswick Street, Roxbury side, not Dorchester side.
That's the Dorchester.
Because that's the Dorchester side, but and then we were further up in Roxbury. So I lived on Iffley Road. So this is.
We've been around.
This is our town. This is our town.
And we know it.
And we know it. And I was young enough to grow up and see all the greats. I mean, Darren, my brother back him, his father, Darren Richardson. I was in that house. I grew up in as my surrogate father.
That's my uncle.
That's my surrogate father.
Oh, there you go. See what I'm saying?
He's one of the elders that, his son, by Kim, that's my brother. Okay, and then we came up in Roxbury. I mean, I ran on Humboldt Ave when we first started dancing. Wyatt Jackson and Unique Donalds out of Humboldt Avenue. That's where we started. And Marlon Grimes, they all lived in Roxbury. We started doing our art. We all hung out. Well, Elma Lewis would kick me in. Miss Lewis always kicked me out. I snuck in and she would kick me back out. But Mr. Mr. Blackman would say,
"Oh, Mr. Blackman,
you say leave him there.
Leave him.
He's gonna keep coming back. He obviously want to do this, and obviously I did. I made it a career.
That's right.
Nice conversation, by the way.
Yes.
Having a chat with you.
Right.
we
Family
do.
reunions. I mean,
This is what Artists of Color is about.
Yeah.
We're not here we're here to give information.
Yeah.
We're here to artistically give information.
Yeah.
We're here to give history.
Yeah.
Because people need to know.
They need to know.
And there are so many people in our community that don't
Roxbury has been very vibrant.
Yes.
This past summer. From the Roxbury Film
Festival.
From the By the Block Back by the Black Market.
Yes.
Until recently, we just finished doing Poetry in the Park. Brother Darnell, who owns Food for the Soul. He's the owner and executive chef.
Oh, he
with
is.
Grove Hall. He organized and created this program, and he hired me to come and help him manage the program this summer.
Wonderful.
And we were there at the John Eliot Church.
I missed it.
Shout out to Brother Darnell. Shout out to Brother Gilbert White. Shout out to Brother Johnson. Shout out to every volunteer that was a part of it. Excellent work. It was beautiful watching the community enjoy traditional African oral, telling the African oral stories.
Yes.
We were sitting there telling stories. We were having people first time, elders, older people who say, "This is the first time I'm speaking publicly," and they felt safe enough to express their words that they wrote in their heart. People were coming. Then they became regulars. People were eating. The restaurant provided food. People were eating, and then you see people that really you could tell that they're not getting a regular meal all the time, but they was coming here 3 times a day on a Friday, Sunday, and Monday, and they were eating. That was provided by Food for the Soul. Okay, that brother provided. So he hired a bunch of us. We all came together and we made magic, and it was beautiful to see what was going on in Roxbury. Because all you hear about Roxbury is the murders, the abuse of this.
That's all you hear.
That's all you hear. But you came. There was art. Art was alive in Boston between the Delaware House, the John Eliot Church, the Washington Street block by with By the Block Back, the whole event all the way up into Franklin Park. And they need to bring the Kite Festival back, and they need to bring Summer Thing back.
That's right.
I agree.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I don't have a kite.
Now y'all trying to
Do you have a kite? I don't have a kite.
I don't have a kite, but my grandchildren do.
Somebody got a kite. They still sell them.
I know, they're like $5.
They sure do. They still sell them.
But these are, and again, you know, a lot of festive and music and people expressing and young people participating, young people communicating. Like tonight, we're doing the closing show. I also had the pleasure of acting up with the 5-0. Shout out to Curleen, Officer Curleen just here. Very good job.
I need to meet them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an amazing moment in Roxbury and in Boston. And, you know, and it's very
Boston
impressive.
Arts, Music, and Soul Festival.
It's happening.
Catherine T. Morris.
Yeah, it's happening.
Yes.
It's happening.
Okay.
The Band Fest happening.
Yeah, Band
I mean, it keeps going on and on and on. So we have a lot going on. Codman Square, Cambridge. I was in Cambridge the other day. Cambridge, everywhere in Cambridge. No, I'm sorry, wrong. I was in Jamaica Plain, Roxbury. And there was art. In Center Street, there was music. Art, music. Art, music. There was about 3 different bands, 3 different circles of people all the way. Just music, hearing the music, playing music, singing. But people were being festive. You know, and we're not talking about that. We're busy focused on the fact that there is murder and there is drug dealing and there's all these things that are hurting us.
But it takes just capturing it. It has to be captured.
As we did. We documented, you know, when working on Poetry in the Park, you know, we Brother Donnell wanted to make sure we documented a lot of stuff. Because
you did.
One, you got to prove you were there.
Right.
But more than that, it's also, this is history. So
Yes,
if somebody ever tries to come in and say, you know, 10 years later, say, oh, look what we created. No, this has been here.
That's
This
right.
is part of the pudding stone in
Right.
Roxbury.
I mean, if you think about it, like, you know, the erasure, you know, that has happened, that's something that, you know, it's easily, I guess, prevented if more of us share what's going on. But, you know, that documentary Summer of Soul, you know, by Questlove, and how many people were in attendance there, and how that disappeared from memory unless
until it was brought
right.
back.
And that's a lot of people. You would have thought, yeah.
Yes.
So we need organizers, and we need to document.
And we need to document. This is important. I'm just happy to say that I can say from the time I've existed that I've been a part of what the artistic and any movement that has been a part of Roxbury and Black beautiful Boston.
Wow, that's
because Black Boston is love. Not just, you know, anywhere that is Black. Like I was just in Pittsburgh at a training, teaching artist training for the August Wilson New Voices monologue competition, which I have been coaching.
He sure has been.
Let me clarify too. I'm the resident teaching artist for the education department at the Huntington Theater Company.
Okay.
That's right.
So through them, we've been doing this work for at least 14, 15 years.
Wow.
Shout out to Meg O'Brien, Latasha Snyder, and the rest of the crew. Shout out to the Huntington for doing this work and providing this work. But it was an experience to see how August Wilson lifted a community up just with his work. They have the August Wilson Cultural Center. His house. I saw one of his plays in the backyard of his house. Now,
Where was his house?
Pittsburgh.
Oh,
the Hill
so
District. I went up there. The Hill
Really?
District is now an art center and a museum. You can walk through what used to be his house, and then the other, you know, and to find out that him and his 6 siblings were sleeping in a room probably about the size of this platform, right? With a bathroom. The outhouse is way out now. And we talk in Pittsburgh. We know how it gets cold. We're talking about a place where the men that made America, like Mellon and Carnegie Mellon and U.S. Steel, and you know.
Okay.
You know what I mean? These places where, and you see the poverty, but you also see how this man's lifted it up. You know what I mean? Just same thing here in Roxbury. Roxbury been lifted up. I mean, we know that we have other people from the outside that have bought up. We know about Northeastern. We know about MIT. We know about Wentworth.
But let's talk about us.
Yeah.
Us.
Yes.
We lift Roxbury.
We lift
Absolutely.
Roxbury.
Roxbury is us.
Us. We are the rock. That's
go.
right. And look at, but it's just beautiful. There's some watching your film and participating in Roxbury and watching how festive things, and people enjoy it. You see people just have somewhere to go every day.
Every day.
Every day.
All
There's
day
something.
long.
And let's hope we can continue to do something in the winter. I
Absolutely.
hope some of these beautiful sites and places and historical places we have in Roxbury
That we
open their
can-
doors for us in the winter.
Absolutely.
I would love to see that happen.
You know, I would like to see a lot happening in Roxbury. We got a lot of
should.
young people that are proud and going through school and that are artistic. Like, and I got to say it again tonight. You know, we're gonna salute a bunch of young students over at that who are part of acting up with the 5-0. You're going to be at Hibernian Hall, and this is their shirt.
I'll go. I just learned about it. I'll be there.
These are the babies, and the babies are doing all the work because the babies are the greatest. So
that's right.
We're here doing the work.
Yeah,
and you're right. Roxbury is an amazing place. I grew up with people that are historically icons in our community.
Absolutely.
We the first black woman mayor out of Roxbury.
I know.
Shout out
That's
to Kim
my
Janey
girl.
and Janie and Grant family. And the Screw family. A shout out, to these people. We have one of our champion, Miss Sister Presley.
Yes.
Oh, Ayanna.
Ayanna, I tell you, she is a lyricist, a wordsmith. I heard yesterday. I saw Crown.
She is.
I went to see Crown.
You saw it?
I saw it at the Museum of Science, and it was beautiful. My friend, shout out to my dear friend, Yvette Modesto. Very good job writing it.
Wow.
And the actors were all incredible. Shout out to Curleen and everybody else that was in it.
I gotta see it.
They wrapped up yesterday, so now we gotta make sure they come back.
A stream, maybe a stream.
Maybe, I don't know. But again, we got Roxbury
That's right.
in the house. Roxbury's spreading all over the place. I go out of town and talk about Roxbury.
It's true.
It's
true.
I'm proud.
I was in
to be a
Ohio.
Roxbury.
I was in Ohio this summer, and at an art museum, I heard about Roxbury artists. So yeah, I mean, the history is a very strong one.
It's a very strong one. Yeah, you got Russell Hornsby, who is a very well-known actor. His family is very connected here in Roxbury and Virginia. You have Robert Sproul and his family. He's a retired filmmaker. Jim Sproul, who was my mentor, and his mother Linda Patton Sproul was my mentor, and it's with New African Company. You got a lot going on. You got Brother Waleem down in the Cape, who's connected to the Roxbury family because he's also a part of New African Company and also oversaw an incredible artist and poet. And then
we have rocks. Like you said, Wyatt Jackson.
Wyatt Jackson, my brother.
He's bringing We Moving Color back.
Yeah,
it's coming back in October,
and he should, and we should be able to go anywhere in Roxbury to see it.
I agree.
See what
Make it happen, Wyatt.
What was significant for me? So it's really refreshing to hear the legacy that you are continuing on because you grew up. It seems like you really had a strong support network.
Well, yeah, you come from another country. You don't quite understand racism until you get to this country. Like I didn't realize the racism in the Spanish community. I'm Cuban, but I'm Afro-Cubano. I'm Afro, right? So I'm thinking, I'm different than the black American. I'm different until I realized, no, you're not. And to the part where the Hispanics looked at me funny. Okay. The black Americans say you're a little different. And we already know what the white folks thought. So now you feel isolated and alone.
Right.
So I found my voice, but I was able to find my voice along with my black community.
But these stories we have to share, right? Because how can all of us, I'm saying all of us, but many of us all feel alone. We're all walking around, right? So I'm biracial. My dad was Dominican. I didn't know him after 3 years old. I met him when I was, 19. But, so the elders and highlighting them, they kind of signify that place. In other cultures, you call someone auntie.
That's what we did.
Age, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So they're your auntie, right? So that's kind of what, these projects and really digging into Roxbury kind of has been like a surrogate for me because, I grew up without the Dominican side. I used to grow up and ask my mom, like, what do I look, what did dad look like? She go look in the mirror,
Right,
there you go.
And there's a lot of us with the same story. I felt alone, or people who come here from another country, they tell me, and if they stay here a couple years, they go back home, they're rejected too, because it's like you're no authentically right.
You're not a part of that culture.
And that's another thing. You have the black American, you also have the Afro-Latino. That includes our Haitian brothers and sisters, Dominican brothers and sisters, everybody, you know what I mean? And you find yourself making a choice. I know I was able to have a voice with the black American community because I looked like them.
Yes.
Until I spoke another language. Then one day I had to realize there's something special about me.
Yes, there is.
I speak a whole nother language. I think with a whole nother language. And I was dismissing that because at one point I was losing my Spanish.
It's easy to do here. They'll take it away. I mean,
my grandmother was a Boston public school teacher for 20 years, retired, went to Miami, had a home, went to Miami very well. And I had to go to Miami. And I went to Miami and stayed there for a little bit to get not only my Spanish back in track, but to get my accent, because my identity, because I'm Cuban.
Your identity.
And people look at you and say, you don't look Cuban. That first thing I like to say, will you please tell me what a Cuban looks like? Because I've heard the term Afro-Cuban, so I'm trying to understand how you ain't figured that one out.
Okay.
Well, so please explain that to me. Because I am. And I is.
I used to be an interpreter with the hospitals in Cambridge, and
I did too.
I tried to do. Oh, really?
You done it
That's
all,
awesome.
girl.
Well,
you should do it all. She's been everywhere. She connected everybody.
You gotta. And so, I used to do some freelance work too. And somebody interviewed me, and I think he was Dominican. And I said, oh, because he asked me my background. I said, oh, black and white. He said, you're Dominican. You're not black. I'm like, but
your daddy's Dominican.
Right?
In America, it's what the daddy is. Maybe in England you can get away with identifying, but here, with who your daddy.
And if you go back far enough in history, it's all the same family too. Which is something my mom passed on to me that my dad would always say. It just depended on where you
end up.
Haiti and Dominican Republic are right here. They're neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Only a
That's
lot.
true.
You know what I mean? So
right?
One speaks Haitian, the other speaks Spanish.
Right.
And then on the other side, you got Dominica. We don't speak neither one. But it's just fascinating. It's fascinating how you can live right next to each other.
Yeah.
And have a whole different language.
You have to be brave. A lot of it, you have to be brave, because there's so much pressure. Well, are you one of us or aren't you one of us? And you have to know, like, okay, well, I'm me. And
this is how I fit in this puzzle.
And this is and this is I am who I am. You can't change it by changing the name.
You spend a lot of time searching for your voice and your identity. And we are real easy to displace. We're real easy to remove somebody from our circle. We're real easy to be discriminatory with each other. I mean, let's be real. We can say what we want about everybody else. We are not racist when it came down to color, but we do discriminate. We discriminate among ourselves very much.
Very much so.
I've heard it. Them Spanish people, them Puerto Ricans, them Cubans, them Haitians, them Cape Verdeans. You start to hear, people, we do that real quick.
It's so true.
Do you know that listening to this little conversation and listening to Naheem made me feel a little bad, because I do that.
But we all do, sweetie.
It's like, how do you? I don't want to, because my mom and my grandparents didn't raise me like that.
But we grew up in a community, and we grew up in a world where that becomes a weapon, a tool, something that's real easy to use without effort. It's real easy to hate on each other.
It's true.
It's real easy to discriminate against each other. That's easy. It's easy to have an attitude with you. It's more work to love you than to have an attitude with you.
To have patience, And the thing about it is,
you see it that way.
No, but go ahead, sis.
Well, I just feel like there's a lot of pressure when we're in communities that have been disenfranchised, and there's a design behind that, right?
Yes, there is.
But if we're smart enough, we say, well, gosh, if we pull our resources together, we could do a lot of stuff.
Stopping
right.
So we on
right. So we have to do that.
We got to do that. But I feel little by little we're getting there.
We are,
Martin Luther King said I might not get there with you, right? But it will happen. I mean, let's think about it. We also got to be careful that they give us a lot of freedom to allow chaos to set place. And people mistaking chaos for freedom. Right?
Thank you.
Right, and then let's be real. You can't be chaotic talking about you can do anything you want. There are boundaries. What gives you ultimate freedom is boundaries. Even though boundaries mean restraint, but you can't be outside of the line. You go outside of the line, it becomes something else. There are rules and regulations in order for us to operate as a society.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You can't go around just killing whoever you want because your eye was twitching. You can't just take from somebody who worked real hard because you didn't have none, so you just want to take it. No, there are rules. You ask.
Now here's the thing. Everything good that's happened in community, yes, people, strengthened, the effort to make a change, but it wasn't chaotic. People organized. People talked to each other, and they had a plan. It might be a bake sale to raise the money. If you don't have the money, then get the money. I mean, we still have flour and eggs and ovens.
Thank you.
And these people, the founders of organizations like one of the organizations that highlighted my work, National Council of Negro Women, and I heard how they were founded, and that's what they did.
My mother-in-law
one
was
of the organizations that I'm proud of, which is the Prince Hall Grand Lodge, and Prince Hall. What he had, Prince Hall had created an Oxford-style education system. You know what I mean? He built the first black school. You know what I mean?
Where was that?
Here in Boston.
Wow.
Founded here. This is the mother jurisdiction. So it's this town, Boston, is no pushover.
Nope.
And let me tell you, and black Boston is definitely no pushover. Okay, black Boston is beautiful. Black Boston is strong. You don't believe me? We got Ayanna Pressley up there kicking boots.
Right.
We got a lot of people in position and power in politics that are standing up for us. We got a lot of community-based. If you don't believe me, go to the Embrace, which I had the pleasure of being the narrator for.
Oh,
Yes,
wow.
we did.
Oh.
And to stand there and to see the many names on the ground and see the many people that have sacrificed and fought since the beginning of Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King to bring such a beautiful thing out, that this happened right here in Boston. And oh, by the way, in Roxbury at your church.
Yep,
That's right, at your church.
At your church, which is our church. But you know what I mean? There's pride.
There's definitely, and good reason for it.
Yes.
So if we can share more of the stories, I think more young people, it just takes a spark to feel excited. Like you can run with that for a long time.
Oh,
just to see, have like a 5-minute experience, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Like that's all it takes, you know?
Listen, this is called the oral tradition of African storytelling.
Yes, it is.
This is what we did at Poetry in the Park. You know,
Yeah.
a vision that, again, I got to
This is what
This
is what people like Valerie Stevens does.
Valerie Stevens, a storyteller.
All the time.
When I first started in theater in the business, these are one of the sisters that was
you go.
mentoring along. You know, right now I'm doing a play called Raising in the Sun at New Rep Theater with the historical and legendary director Lois Roach from Roxbury.
Wow.
Okay, from Roxbury, and the amount of talent. And one of the greatest things in the world is to be in a play with some very talented and smart and actors who happen to be black, but at the same time, the people that aren't black that work with us are just as magical and powerful. You know, so it's about a state of mind, because black is not a color. Black is a state of mind. Let's get down. Let's talk about it. Let's go. Roll up your sleeves, Black Roxbury. Black Boston, roll up your sleeve and say it like it is.
And we ain't finished, but we are going to take a break. And when we take our break and we come back, I have a clip that I want to show from Bithyah about Great Day in Roxbury. So we will be back, and we're taking a break.
He's still obsessed with the painting. He said he had proof it was his even way back then. He didn't. No record, no bill of sales. He just keeps going back to court to hear the same thing. Shut up and go back to work.
You should come. It's gonna be fun. The odds stacked up against us. I mean, it's stupid, bro. We can't lose. I'm coming right now on the ground floor.
You're a bookie for your own team, right? Did you finish your audition tape?
Not yet.
Hey, listen. Make the tape this weekend. Get it to me by Monday. That's it. You got this. Okay. You got this. Hey, it's the Sanderson sisters. I bet you're looking for the stage. Always. 4 churches were built on that site. The original by your boy, George Washington, over 200 years ago. The man liked to have escape tunnels attached to all his churches. Oh, Mondays, am I right, Joe? You said it, guy. Yeah. Cold one, huh?
They burned witches at the stake not far from here. Imagine being burned alive.
I'm sorry. I'll sell for you guys, whatever you want me to do. I'm just trying to make some extra money. Okay? Can't blame me for that, right?
You are. I work for the museum. Do you have paperwork? Nobody said anything about paperwork.
Well then, you don't get no credit. Thanks for coming out tonight. That one was dedicated to our new friend, Blanca.
No, this is not stealing. This is my property.
Come on, man, you're trespassing.
I'm not trespassing.
What the hell is this? A fire drill?
I've never seen it this busy.
You see that door back there? Yeah. I want you to go through it the same way you came in and come back when you're ready to deal with the real world. She's a cruel teacher, son. First she gives you the test, then the lesson.
What? Who?
Time, son, time.
This looks happy. Hold on. Hold on. Are you sure you all are elders? I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Let's wait a second. I see you, Mr. Posey. Turn that lid up.
They had dreams and aspirations and visions, and they made them come true.
We are back. I am Elaine Hall-Corbin, your host. Welcome to Artists of Color. And my guests are Naheem Garcia and Bithyah Israel. Don't mind me, I'm off today. I got wet in the rain. But we were having this great discussion.
Absolutely.
I love discussions like this because this is what Artists of Color is about. It's about our community. And we need to let the young people, the elders, everybody know our history. And know our history culturally, artistically, who's here, who's been, who's coming. And this is important.
It is important.
You know, this is important. You were talking a little bit ago about what we need to do to have art in the winter.
Well,
that is something we really.
I mean, it is happening because at the Huntington, we're working with young people. So towards once in January, you got the Next Narrative monologue competition. You have the August Wilson New Voices monologue competition. These are high school competitions that are national. Our students, last year, I brought back a national champ.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Oh, shoot.
Sakura Rosenwald.
Wow.
Thank you, Rosenwald. Thank you. She won at Next Narrative at the historical Apollo Theater, and then we were in Chicago with the August Wilson New Voices monologue competition, and we didn't place, but it was quite an incredible experience. So we have young people. So if you want to come and see some stuff, but we're hoping that everything that was going on in the summer, I'm hoping that I would love to see brother D from Food for the Soul actually take his show and bring it indoors, because what happened was incredible. But we need to be able to have somewhere so people could create art indoors comfortably. And we need to figure out funding so it could happen, so people don't have to worry about how much they got to go in their pocket to come and see something.
I got my first funding. I have been fighting for years trying to get my organization funded, and I actually received my first funding. Not a lot.
That's a big deal.
A little something. Give me some money. I'll do a variety show. I've been my old business partner, Pat Younger, and a piece of the Younger and Cooper and Boston family. They've experienced quite a hit this past summer, losing the two brothers that died in Randolph in a car accident.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and those two young men, they're near and dear, and it was wonderful. But shout out to them. But my business partner, we used to do these variety shows, and the city would support it. We go to different, I hate using the word projects, but what's the other term they use about
developments?
These developments. And they would provide it to keep them busy, provide variety show, talent shows. So that needs to come back.
Absolutely.
Down the street, if a little bit past Roxbury, Dorchester, we got the Strand Theater. If you can't get to Hibernian Hall, we got the Strand Theater. We got the Boys and Girls Club. The new library has space.
Yes, it does.
And a shout out to the Secret Society of Black Creators, because we were there. RCC.
Yes.
RCC. So we got plenty of places. I fast and pray that, and let's not compete about who's doing what.
No.
Let's try to see if we could schedule ourselves so we can make sure we support everybody. Because there's enough to go around.
What would it take? What would it take for that kind of circuit to be complete? Yeah.
That's what I'm going to
I mean, you know, that's I'm going to tell you. I think what it's going to take is first communication, sitting down with key people and making sure that we have a, you know, that we can have a forum where we can have a discussion, making sure that we have a big calendar in front of our faces and make sure that everybody is saying this is what I'm doing. So you're not competing or doing, you know, or clashing.
That's
you know,
true.
I'm over here doing this program, you're over there doing this program, when we should be working together to make it all work.
True.
And if it's one of those situations, then how do we create a dual festival out of something? You know, we have visual arts. There's visual arts going on all over town. That's another beautiful thing. And that just happened here. I was down in Miami, and it's happening there too. A lot of black, a lot of beautiful art, cultural art. So we just need to I think we need to have a good conversation. We need to communicate. The city needs to be listening. The state needs to be listening. And they need to not just listen, but they need to provide. They need to provide. They need to assist. And not that they're not, because they are. I want to be clear, they have. But it'd be nice to be able to do a little more, and everybody gets to come to the table and say, okay, let's do this.
And then we have little organized, you know, groups like Project Right. Let's see what else. Roxbury Main Street.
The
is,
Clubhouse
you know,
right here now. Shout out to Lisa Cook. The Clubhouse is doing stuff down here.
Next to
Black Market.
Yes.
You can't forget
the Black Market.
Kaidi and Chris and the rest of the Janie family.
American City Coalition.
Yeah, you got that. You know, like I said, and then you got my good brother. You know, again, Food for the Soul presenting. So there's a lot. And with just a little bit, there's a brother who was at the convention center. And I apologize, brother, I can't remember your name. You had my good friend Raquel DePina. There was all these pictures at the convention center where he's making jewelry. He's trying to open a place right across the street from what used to be Tech. What is it now? Still Tech? Right,
you mean the Boston Arts Academy?
No, not Boston Arts Academy. We're talking Roxbury, Warren Street. What's that, Boston Tech or what's that?
Benjamin Franklin Institute.
No, you all down there in Tremont Street. I'm in Roxbury, right be off of Warren Street.
No, Nubian
Warren
Square.
and Quincy.
Nubian Square, they're coming.
Right, yes. But in the corner of Quincy and Warren, 2 doors down, open lot. I know the brother's trying to build something. Brother,
really?
I apologize, I can't remember your name. That's what happened when you live and on the spot. But he's doing jewelry, and they did a beautiful thing. So there's a lot going on in Roxbury, and there's a lot more coming, and there's a lot of people trying to rise up. So we got to pull ourselves
Everybody together.
Because the bottom line is, as long as we're competing, we're not going to get ahead. As long as they got us competing.
I want to know about him.
Yeah, we're going to have to find. I got his car. I want to put my wallet out and look for his car right now, but
no, we're not doing that.
We're not going to do that. But I'll make sure you get his information. I do have his card, and I thought about that. So we have a lot of creativeness going on here. You know, I do know that down by the Black Market, they got their little.
You know what's going on down there? What's
you
happening?
Gonna tell us? You gonna tell us?
Right?
I don't know.
The tables have turned.
Yeah.
Yes, I've noticed. What's it called? Nubian Rising. No, Nubian Ascending.
Oh,
right,
yes.
that's what's going to be the art center?
That's going to be art. There's going to be a glass, that piece that's going up in front of the Haley House.
Right.
That's going to be a glass indoor center where they can have art shows, musical, theater.
Yeah, that whole section down
that
there is
whole
going to be
section.
The whole Nubian Square is going to be quite the
It's
artistic
going to be
center
quite interesting.
for Boston, especially for Roxbury.
And there's also buildings. They're building, studios and living centers for artists.
We just got to make sure that they don't hurt us.
There you go. And that's the big thing. I've been to a couple of meetings.
And Boston, was it the Roxbury Development? Or
Roxbury, no, it isn't the Roxbury.
I apologize for not having that information.
The Dudley, the Boston,
we'll get it.
Yeah, we'll get it.
We'll get it and come back correct.
That's right. It's run through the city. I can tell you that.
But I know that there's Roxbury.
Yeah, Boston Redevelopment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boston Redevelopment. Oh, we have a phone call.
What we do?
Yes, caller.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Sharon Hinton. Naheem knows me as Shasha on WRBB. So the brother that you are talking about is T. Michael Thomas and the People's Academy.
Oh.
Thank you. That's how we work together, black people. Thank you very much.
Yes.
And And I apologize I couldn't remember his name, but I want to make sure I recognize him and recognize what he's doing. And I pray that he gets that open space over there off of Warren, and that he builds his center and have young people come in and learn the craft that he's teaching. So I hope that works out. Thank you for that.
Well, I'm actually on his board, and he has the land, but he's trying to, Mayor Walsh gave him the land, and he's securing the funding. He needs about $25 million to be able to build. They have the plans. It's a multi-use school and presentation space and artist studios and everything in there. And so T. Michael Thomas, we call him Too Much Talent. T. Michael
Too much
Thomas
talent. T. Michael Thomas.
Yep. So God bless you. Wonderful show, y'all. Hope to see you again. And Naheem, you're amazing. I've known you since you thought about you wanted to be an actor when you were a teenager.
Don't be telling on me. Yes.
And I'm going to put it out there. That lady, that sister there, was my professor at Springfield College.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Thank you. I love.
I graduated under her.
Yeah, you know.
Sharon Hinton.
We are just. We got some beautiful people in this town doing some beautiful things.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean black folks, the entire city. The black, Hispanic, the white, the purple, brown, yellow. We have a group of people in this green. It don't matter, but if you're a Bostonian, your heart's in the right place, and your heart's about making sure that the community is standing up, then you are with us. All those that want to separate and conquer and destroy, you are not with us, and we're letting you know right now that you're put on notice. So I am saying to the people of Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan, and everywhere here in Boston, continue to do what you're doing, continue to fight for our voice, continue to fight for our existence, and continue to fight for our art to be told. And don't you dare discount our elders. Make sure we raise them up. Because without them, we are standing on their shoulders. So without our elders, without the people that made us, we won't live. So let's not discontinue them. Let's not treat them. Let's not throw them to the side. But put them over there. But put them in their throne where they belong. Because one day we'll be them. You know. There's a great poem by George Washington Carver. And I swear to God, I got to commit it to memory because he talks about how be kind to the young and the baby. I'll come back one day, memorize and do it for you. But at the end of the day, he says, be kind if you need to all of these different people in the world, because one day you have been these people. One day you have been poor. One day you've been troubled. One day you're going to be sad. One day you're going to be any of these people. As I like to say, people that want to look down on somebody, it's nice to look down on me from the first floor. You know what I mean? So, yeah,
And you know what? Like, it comes back to you. So I've seen that, right? I've seen that.
I hear you.
Maybe not the same moment, the same day, but when you need it, it comes and you say, oh my gosh, I remember when I responded the right way in a situation. And now, yes.
That's right.
Thank you. See, now you have given me food for thought. Naheem has, and you just have.
Thank you.
I have been, it's something that's been bothering me for a while. But both of you have given me food for thought.
Oh.
Well, that's the whole point, because you have definitely blessed us with a platform to eat.
That's right.
Before he came,
I'm about to pass it.
Yeah, I did. I had a nice fish sandwich.
I'm about to take a collection in a minute.
I know. And give some.
You need to do announcements too.
It's just
hilarious.
I gotta ask, when is the next August Wilson program going to happen in Huntington?
It's going to be, where is it? The winter. It's going to be the top of winter, somewhere between January and March. Okay. These competitions will come out.
Yeah, the competitions.
And you and I will stay in communication, because once these candidates, these young people, we want to make sure that everybody comes out and support these young people, let them know that, because we're too busy supporting them when they're playing ball, which I ain't knocking. I love it. We should support them when they're playing ball. We should support them when they're doing all these things. But let's support them when they're doing art. We need to come out here learning text and delivering it, and especially when all you gotta do is show up, because it's free.
And what about integrating those moments? For example, the inauguration had someone sharing her work. So what if before a baseball game they had
throw it out
order,
there before
right?
a football game.
Right? You have a star, high schooler who said, before we do this,
Celtics game.
right?
We have the the New England poet laureate, and Portia, I apologize if I titled you wrong, but she did it when they honored Bill Russell.
Yes.
And she did this beautiful poem.
Didn't she?
And she is powerful, and you know, it was just moving. So that's there, but let's, you know, and she teaches young people, and I worked with her at Cobbin Academy along with the Huntington Theater Company. Shout out to them. So you know, we in the community.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the work that I get the chance to do and participate, collaborate, I am an artist for hire.
Oh, now we know.
Yes. And you know, just sometimes it takes a good trade. You got something to eat, I'll come and work.
That's
you know?
right. and young
I'm
artists.
Only playing. I got to pay rent.
We have to feed him.
Yeah, but you know, it's I'm not always working for pay. Sometimes I do it because I know it's planting a seed and making the crops grow.
And
you know, and I know I can look at a lot of young people walking down the street and say, like the phone call, sister call, and just recognize. She remember when we was young and I was talking this mess, and here we are.
That's
you
right.
Know, here we are
today.
You know, here we are, and we making sure that things are getting done, and we making sure. Look at what you're doing. You're documenting history. Look what you're doing. You're providing a platform for us to have a conversation and to recognize not just the art of color or the artist of color, but recognize how Black Boston is alive and flourishing. You know, so. We looking good, folks, and we're going to keep looking good. And don't give up the fight. You know, there's victory in the struggle. There is victory in the struggle. You might not see it now, but our children will, as long as we can keep that in mind, you know, and continue to pave a way in a safe place for our elders to be while we do the work and our younger coming up.
That's right, coming up. And that's the most important thing.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. So what's next? I want to know what's next. I want to know what you got going on next. Because you invite all kind of beautiful people here. And I apologize to the rest of the world and the show and being there, because I need to tune in a little more, even though I live a little bit in the outskirts of Boston now. Well, you know what happened. I work in Roxbury. I don't leave Roxbury. But I did want a little more property. I did want to live a little
there we
more.
Go.
He wanted a little more.
A little more.
Yeah.
Not that I only, but I just wanted to be, you know.
That's right.
Yeah, I know.
Because they said we could be anywhere we want. That's the whole problem. We're not limited. Last
now,
night
who
in the
said
show.
That?
That was last night at the show at Crown.
I was
it
going
was
to
the
say.
last day that them sisters were saying we could be anywhere we want. We're allowed to be everywhere. You know, we're allowed to exist everywhere, because a lot of people think that we're limited just to be in one section of town.
Oh, I see.
Some days is gone.
I was like, because if you know a reasonable house in Roxbury, let me know.
Oh no, that's the other thing. They're trying to outprice us out of our community.
Yes, they are.
Okay, it's to the point where it's, you know, when you can hear $3,500 for an apartment for smaller than this room in Roxbury.
Okay.
In Roxbury. Jamaica Plain, Dorchester. I mean, get to the point where we're gonna live. Even if you go out, like I live in Randolph, you go all the way out to Randolph used to be an affordable. You can live, you can get something, you can buy something. Not no more. They done built some new apartments over there by cross street by where McDonald's is something. You talking about $3,500 for a square, for a box. So I don't know what's going on. Urban renewal don't never stop.
No, it
we got to keep fighting it. But yeah, you know, but we should collaborate and invest in Roxbury so we won't have that problem. That's one of the things. That's one of the things that I applaud Black Market for doing. Buy the block back was about making sure that we buy the block back.
That's right.
We make sure we walk into the store, the owner look like you. The owner can speak your language, and I don't care if you're black, brown, yellow,
green,
purple.
whatever.
Or, you know, if you live in this community, you of this community, especially if you're a black person from this community, because we're the ones you got to buy, and it ain't easy. And they're going to make it very difficult for us.
Yes,
but where there's a will, there is a way.
There we go. I have to.
That is
Thank you very much.
That's serious.
Because I'm hoping that my will comes so I can have my way.
Oh, shit.
Because you're right. I love to be able to buy a house in Roxbury.
Exactly.
I love to be able to buy a triple-decker in Dorchester.
Absolutely.
You know, I love to be able to buy, you know, good old brownstone in the South End. I love to be able to do that.
Yep.
We lost the family home. Elmer Lewis.
I know, but at least with that Daddy Divine United Church,
Yes.
they put it together. All right.
Oh, Lord.
Is that the tune?
Well, that
Yep.
is our tune.
It's a wrap.
And I want to thank my guests.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And Naheem.
Thank you.
My two wonderful people. We had a great time today.
Yes, we
Great.
did.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Let's
you.
do it again.
Yeah,
All right.
and I apologize if I missed somebody too, but you know what?
Wow.
There's
So
another
I
show.
wanna
There'll always
thank-
be another
That's
show.
right.
So as I thanked my guests, thank you, audience, for being with us today. I am Elaine Hall-Corbin, your host, and thank you for being with us on Artists of Color. And this is what we do.
That's so wonderful. That was great. That was fun.